RPG Writer here to review Rolemaster, aka Space Master RPG, or some people like to call it Chartmaster, and with pretty good reason. It's if you do get your hand on the PDF or the book, or you own it, it's riddled with charts. From beginning to end, it's chart. It's chart madness. So let me start with the fluff of Space Master. So the copy I've got is Space Master Privateers, which features a tiger man on the front with a laser pistol firing at some human. Really good artwork, but there's a tiger guy. Now immediately you think space opera, not very realistic, and it's like a weirder Star Frontiers, right? In actual fact, that's not the case. When you open up the book and actually read through the background, it's actually hard sci-fi. And I know that sounds strange with Tiger Man on the front. And, there are bipedal bear men and stuff. But it is based on hard sci-fi. And the writers were fans of hard sci-fi. They do say. But essentially what happened is you've got these beings rumored to exist, which are called the Ancients. And no one really knows what they look like, and they're just, clues and rumors and clues amongst artifacts that these things even existed. And supposedly, rumor has it they're long-lived, or they're not long-lived, but essentially people think that they came up with this masterful plan to seed different planets throughout the universe, and then carefully and surgically guide their evolutionary path. Not just guide, manipulate, through gene splicing and genetics, each creature's evolutionary path. So you've got tiger men and bear men, with different attributes and different personalities, supposedly all a result of these ancients who are carefully altering the course of life forms on different planets, right? So that's the premise of the book. Now, character creation, we were just kind of chatting up and having fun during character creation, and it took us 3 hours. And granted, there was a lot of discussion going on, so we could cut that down to 2 hours, but you're looking at a 2-hour character creation process for us. And we are new to the game, right? So once you get used to the game, no doubt that would be cut down by 15 minutes or so. There's a lot you can do and a lot of charts to consult and the like. By the time we got through character creation, I was exhausted. I was mentally exhausted because, and then we got into combat, and that was a whole new realm of not only consulting charts, but you're constantly modifying different equations, and you're leaving off the remainder in some instances, and counting it in others. And I'll give you an example of this, just a small example. Like it uses D10s, so most of it is percentile stuff, but boy, like when you do something, it's either a low end roll, a high end roll, or an open end, which is a high end and low end roll. And then there are other types of rolls, and essentially if it's a low end roll, if you get something on the D100 and it's below a certain number, you have to consult some other charts and cross-reference with other charts. And if it's high end, you have to do the opposite. When it's high end, you have to do all this stuff if it's high end, and consult other charts and cross-reference. And each weapon has its own chart, and it's modified based upon what you do or what you don't do. And when you roll for initiative, guys, different actions are different percentages of how much you can do. during a round. So you might do something and use up 26% of your action. And you can see the trouble this causes. It's a game, and I'm going to be quite honest, if you really like math and you have an engineering brain, Space Master is right for you. No, I'm not going to badmouth it. I'm just going to say it's not for me. Like, I couldn't see the point after a while. I was just like, okay, you come across an NPC and he fires a gun at you, guys, and this took it took a good half hour. I think the party fired twice and the NPC fired twice. It took a good half hour. Just consulting endless charts and modifying endless D100 rolls and cross-referencing and decimals and how many percent of a percent, and it was unbelievable. Like, I was actually, at the end of it, I was in a bad mood, I was confused, and one guy was going to do his action, and I pretty much just said, okay, Josh, just let's forget it. Let's just say you hit him, okay? It was like that. I was just so fed up. Can we just say you hit the damn guy? Because it got ridiculous. So mired. It's not just charts, guys. It's math, and it's pretty detailed. It's not confusing. It's detailed. It's endless detail. And if you picture a game where you rolled a hit, picture another game where what they want to do is they want to take that roll to hit and they want to make it as complex as humanly possible. But it's not realistic complex. It's just complex. It's not intuitive, right? It's not an intuitive game at all. So it's very complex. It's not intuitive. It's not counterintuitive. I said in another vlog. But it's very complex and detailed. And it broke my heart because I loved the backstory and I really wanted to play this campaign, guys. I was so geared. After I read the fluff, I was sold. I was just like, wow, what a great idea. The ancients, tigermen, bearmen, and some races are enslaving others, and it's just so cool. And then you got the privateer ships coming in, and it was really good, guys. The fluff was so fun, and the system murdered it for me. It absolutely murdered it. So now, if you would like to play it, by all means. Sorry, guys, I can't resist cornering. Sorry, if it offends anybody. Sorry. If you want to play it, give it a shot. The PDF is on DriveThru now for cheap, I think. And but they do call it Chart Master or Table Master for a reason. It's so detailed. So maybe complex is the wrong word, because I wouldn't really say it's complex, because they do a good job of breaking things down. It's just endless, guys. It's endless. Like, I remember playing Hackmaster one time. I can't remember what edition it was. And Hackmaster is very complicated and complex too. And in Hackmaster, I remember it took forever. I know a guy who took a full afternoon rolling up a Hackmaster character. And it's so complicated, like you can't pick up an item without affecting your other item, and your shield affects your sword, and it just goes on and on and on. And I remember in the game finding a magical axe, and I just said, guys, screw it. And I just left it there because I just didn't want the heartache and the sheer agony of redoing my character sheet with an axe instead of a sword and shield. I just didn't want that agony. Well, I think Space Master takes you to the extreme. Like, that's an extreme. You got Cortex, rules light, super intuitive. Space Master is the polar opposite, guys. Extremely detailed, and man, it was unreal. I had a headache. And now, granted, I'm going to be honest here and say we were learning the game, you know, so we were picking up the book and let's play. Let's roll up characters and play, which is, you know, a big task for any RPG, but usually you can pull it off. In Cortex, you can pull it off in 15 minutes, 10 minutes. If you know something about role-playing games, right? Cortex Classic is the best thing since sliced bread for role-playing. Just underrated, and I don't know, something happened with the marketing, I guess. And so yeah, so Space Master, man, oh my, guys, yeah, it's too bad. I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to like that game. Love the cover. And after I got the whole, oh, it's hard sci-fi with Tiger Man, I was really into it. And it's funny, I was the motivating force behind playing the game, and the guys were like, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. Okay, yeah, let's humor the GM here. And then I was the guy who just said, I can't, guys. I can't do it anymore. I can't do this combat. I can't possibly figure out and modify and percentages and, you know, you'd have to take a look, guys, to see what I'm talking about. It sounds surreal. So I was like, well, how hard can it be? It's very detailed, guys. So a high-end open roll modified by 10 different things based upon what you're doing and when you're doing it, and it was brutal. Yeah. So now, if you like that, though, right? If you're a rules heavy guy and you like math, you know, you like percentages and decimals and fiddling, and perhaps engineering students or engineers would perhaps really like it. So it's a game where the rules supersede the story. The rules come to the front of the game, right? They're right there, and they are at the front of the game, guys. So Cortex Classic, I always use Cortex Classic because it's the simplest game on the planet that can do anything and handle anything in seconds. Realistically, it's realistic, intuitive, and rules light. But if Cortex Classic is on one side, then Space Master is on the opposite side of the spectrum. Extremely detailed. Now, I ran into a guy in RPG in the vlog. RPG Rider goes to the Lair, I think it is the name of the shop, and I talked to a guy who really loved Space Master, and that's what got me interested. I was like, okay, well, I actually bought Space Master. I love role-playing games, like I love them, and I buy them routinely, right? I have lots of role-playing games, and I got boxes of RPGs, guys, and I love the hard copy of everything. I'm not a PDF guy. So I was like, oh, I've got that at home, man. I can't wait to check that out. And I read the story. I was like, yeah, crazy. And I purposefully didn't, you know, I read a minuscule amount about the actual rules of the game, but I purposely waited till game time to, okay, let's go, step one. Now, granted, if you go through the steps, they're very clear. There are just so damn many of them. It's a labyrinth of stuff, and you can do it. The rules, I gotta give it to these guys. The clarifications are awesome. The character creation, how to do it, is awesome. But it's endless detail, and it murdered the game, right? I wanted to blow up the whole ship everybody was in just so I didn't have to consult another chart. Okay, RPG Rider out.